Today I'm going to show you how to make shortbread. My British neighbor says my shortbread is better than any he's ever had elsewhere. It's quick and easy to make and it'll melt in your mouth. So the first thing I want to do is actually turn my oven on. I'm going to turn it on to 325 and let it start to preheat. And then I'm going to get my pans ready. I've already sprayed a little bit of Pam or baking spray into my pans. I'm going to use these cute little train molds I have today. You could also use a regular shortbread mold if you have one, or this is about 8 inches across, which would be a number 7 or a number 6 skillet if you prefer to use a skillet or you don't have any molds to use. The ingredients for shortbread are quick and simple. We've got 1 cup of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/3 cup of confectioners or powdered sugar, and a 1/2 cup or 1 stick of butter. I like to use my butter cold, straight from the fridge. I do not bring it to room temperature first. So I'm going to put my butter into my mixing bowl, and we're going to go ahead and start beating this. I'm going to beat this for 1 or 2 minutes until it's light and fluffy. The mixture is, you can see it's nicely mixed. I'm going to go ahead and add my powdered sugar in. That's a 1/3 cup of powdered sugar, and I'm going to mix this another minute until that's well combined. You may need to scrape down the sides of your bowl while it's mixing. Actually, you probably want to pause the mixer and then scrape down the sides of your bowls. So the powdered sugar has been thoroughly combined. I'm now going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. After that's mixed in, I'm going to add my flour, 1 cup of flour. I've got a 1/2 cup scoop here, and I'm going to stir my flour a little bit so that it's not packed down or I'll have too much. And I'm going to put in 2 1/2 cups, which gives me 1 cup of flour. And I'm going to turn this on low, and it's just going to take a minute until this will combine itself into a ball. Just going to take a moment and scrape down the edges and the sides here. And you can see it's starting to form into a ball there. So I'm going to put just a little bit of flour on my work surface. And go ahead and scrape this out onto there. Our oven's come up to temp, so it'll be ready for this as soon as we get this put in the pan. So we're going to take our dough and we're just going to fold it and knead it slightly just to make sure it's thoroughly mixed. And I'm going to divide it into half, roughly half each. And I'm going to take the dough and I'm just going to press it into the mold. Get it into all the corners so I get my nice shape here. And you just simply press it down into the mold and spread it out into all the corners. Press it firmly so that you'll get the designs from the mold into the dough. So this one's ready, and we'll fill our other one. And we'll just keep filling these sections. Again, press firmly because we want those cute little designs to come up. Okay, so we've got those all filled, and we're going to put the rest into our little heart mold here. I'll get a little more in that one than the others. We'll just do that. Maybe not. Get them roughly the same height in there. So now that I've got my molds all filled, the most important step before you put them in the oven is to take a fork and poke holes in the back of the design. Just straight up and down. Doesn't matter if you poke all the way through, you won't see them on the front. If you do not do this, your shortbread is going to puff up on you while it's baking, and it will come out most unsightly. So go ahead, straight up and down, and poke holes in your shortbread. Once you've poked it full of holes, we can go ahead and put it in the oven. So I'm just going to pop these in the oven. And I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes. They take 30 to 35 minutes. We'll check them after 30 minutes though. So I've got my timer set for 30 minutes, oven at 325, and I'll see you back here shortly. All right, it's been 30 minutes. We're going to take a peek at our thing. If you look, they're lovely golden brown, just turning the slightest bit of brown, so they're done. We're going to go ahead and take these out. And now you need to wait another 10 minutes. So I'm going to turn my oven on. I'm going to set the timer for another 10 minutes. And I'll let these set in the pan for 10 minutes to cool before I try and remove them from the pans. After 10 minutes, I'm going to take a knife and run it quickly around the edges of them, and then I will turn them onto my cutting board. It's been 10 minutes, so I'm going to turn my timer off And now I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to run it along the edges of the pan, just enough to loosen it up a little bit. And you can see them kind of wiggling there, and you know they're good. And I'll just do this. So this one's good, and I can go ahead and turn him onto my cutting board, and he's all set. So if you needed to cut these, now is when you would want to cut them. You should cut them while they're warm. Once they cool down, they will be difficult to cut. So again, I'm just going to take my knife and I'm just going to start running it along the edges of these designs until so they're loosening. And again, you want to let them cool about 10 minutes in the pan before you try doing this. This one looks like he doesn't want to come out nice. Let's see, make sure he's nice and loose. Okay, so I'm just going to take these and again I'll turn them onto the cutting board. And we've got our little train there. So I'm just going to slide him up a little bit so that I can have room for my next train. And I will repeat the process of running my knife around the edges of the pan. So I can make sure that's loose. Okay. Front loose. Now the dough does rise a little bit. It doesn't rise a lot, but you don't want to overfill these pans. Those first ones I did, I probably had a little much in them. They're a little better if they're not overfilled. So I'm going to take this again, and we will just turn it out right here on the cutting board and let them drop out. And so I've got a couple of choo-choos and some hearts, and again, it's light, it's buttery, it'll melt in your mouth. Perfect. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of how to make shortbread. If so, please like and subscribe to this channel for more good cooking with the Iron Maiden. Happy baking.